Yo, just gonna go over some things I changed in the Forged Frostbearers build. I switched to an Aegis Aurora setup with an aggressive trigger wand, and I moved my Spectres to my gloves. My gloves are Shaper influenced and provide base crit chance, crit multi, faster casting and slower projectiles. You do not actually need faster projectiles on Frostbearers, as the projectiles Frostbearers have are not affected by projectile speed. I'm using 1 perfect Warlord for the endurance charges and 8 Forged Frostbearers. Damage is actually quite similar to the Squire setup I was running, as I am currently sitting at about 16 million DPS, but defenses are quite a bit better. A buddy of mine pointed out to me that the Frostbearers were way better at targeting mobs without Spell Echo. I switched Spell Echo for Awakened Cold Penetration to try this out, losing about 500,000 DPS in PoE or 1 million if I was using Awakened Spell Echo. These are theoretical DPS numbers of course. In practice, the Frostbearers felt way better without Spell Echo. They were much better at targeting mobs, especially faster ones. It is probably still good to have Spell Echo for Forged Frostbearers earlier on, as you will likely not have as much minion cast speed yet. Mobs will also be slower in lower level content, so the targeting issues are not as problematic. Performance wise, with this current setup, I can run tier 17 maps quite easily. I can do the bosses too, but I am not very good at the mechanics. Uber bosses are doable, but not easy. DPS is high enough and so is survivability on the player, but you still have to play good. You also have to be a bit careful with your Spectres, as they can definitely die to some of the bigger damaging abilities Uber bosses have. I was able to get up to wave 14 Simulacrum, but failed in wave 15. The main reason is that Frostbearers get swarmed by mobs, and when that happens their AI makes them want to run away, but there's not really anywhere for them to go, so they sometimes get completely stuck and can't move. So I was mostly just running around trying to find an empty spot to convocate them to. You have to be careful with this as well, because if you convocate them on top of a lot of mobs, they will stand still for a good second before becoming active again. Things like Abyss, Expedition and Harvest will all be just fine to run, whereas something like Breach might be a bit more problematic. Basically, any mechanic which has too many mobs attacking the Frostbearers at once is not ideal. As for defenses, I am very tanky when the Frostbearers are leeching. It provides incredible sustain. When not leeching however, not so much. High physical damage hits will still sometimes kill me, even with the 3 endurance charges the perfect Warlord provides. When it comes to Spectre defenses, you definitely have to be a little bit careful. They basically have the same problem we have. While they are leeching and hitting enemies, they will have good sustain, but when not hitting, they will slowly die. You might want to invest a little bit more into Spectre defenses than I did. Another thing I feel is worth pointing out is that my current setup is worth around half a mirror, which is probably way too much currency for most, and also in comparison to the amount of DPS this build outputs. Overall, I still think Forged Frostbearers are godlike when it comes to leveling. Grab a Reverberation Rod or a Bitter Dream with a City Breath Amulet, then get yourself some gear with plus levels to minions, and then you pretty much just clap the whole campaign and Atlas. I will put my POV in the description.
Thanks for watching.
And enjoy the rest of the video. Or not, whatever you feel like. Yep,